And now, another episode of MMA Gossip with your boys.
Boom. We're live, baby. MMA Gossip is back in your life after a 2-week layoff. We'll be talking about Mike Tyson selling over 1 million pay-per-view buys in his 50s, why Matt hates his boss. No, I'm only kidding. If your boss is listening to this, don't take that for real. Why Conor McGregor and Diego Sanchez headlining a card in Ireland is the only thing that makes sense for Diego Sanchez's retirement fight, and much more. Errol Spence taking on Danny Garcia. A lot going on in the MMA world and the boxing world as usual. The world never stops. Bellator next week, Anthony Joshua next week. But for now, MMA Gossip. Give us a like, comment, subscribe at MMA X Gossip. All socials, emails, the whole fucking nine. And that's it.
That's it, baby. All right, let's talk about two special fights that happened last week. I wouldn't say special, but I think Miguel Baeza is a special talent. Ripping Sato, like literally made him – he looked like a minus 500 in there, torqued him up. I think he's a special – I think he'd be a top 5 talent. He's young, explosive. He's got heart because in his last fight against Matt Brown, he got clipped, came back, and then ended up knocking Brown out. And then against this fight in Sato, who's always dangerous with that left hand, he put it on him. Matt, what do you think about that awesome performance?
I liked what I saw, especially because after the Matt Brown fight, I felt like I haven't heard or seen from him a while. And even though he's as good as he is, he's just not a guy you hear about. Like other prospects, you hear so much about them, you get excited. The only reason this fight was a co-main event was because everybody else got sick. And you could also argue that this fight wasn't really even set up for him to win. It was kind of I feel like Sato is another guy that they seem to hype up a bit. I personally think just because of his nationality, he'll be at a co-main event or whatever.
Bro, that's racist, dude.
That's racist.
You know what I mean? They tend to hype up those guys just to expand their presence. So I thought it was putting their heads together was really to see who was going to take that next step. And like Mike just said, I think Baez ended up looking like a minus 500 favorite. He looked better than Sato literally everywhere. And I'm excited to see what's next for him. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's a lot of guys you could toss him in there with. You know who I'd like to see him against? I think it'd be a good fight. I don't know if it's one hype train versus the other. The other guy's not really a hype train, but what's his name? I don't know how to say his first name, but Lazaz, the guy that beat the fuck out of
Lazaz, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good dude. That's a good matchup right there.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun fight after he beat the fuck out of Al Hassan. Yeah. But I liked what I saw. I'm excited to see what comes next for him.
Yeah, I think I'm with Mike. He looks special. I think the UFC thinks he's special. I know he's took some pics with Dana White post-fight. And he was hyping up Colby Covington post-fight, by the way, too, saying that Colby is a really fucking good person, really good guy, trains hard as fuck. So he's clearly got the stand-up and clearly got the jiu-jitsu after that, some nice little submission win. And I guess if you're training with Colby Covington every day, your wrestling is going to be pretty fucking good, too. So I think the UFC has high hopes for him. And just to play devil's advocate to the one thing Matt said, I think Sato, I think the UFC I think this fight they already did, and now post-fight they definitely did kind of give up on him being a bit of a hype train. He's kind of got a little bit of a weak chin, I guess, and then he got, a little hurt, subbed, and Miguel Baeza moves on, baby. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the UFC does like him, and him, they threw him right in against Matt Brown right off rip, so they definitely had some hopes for him, and he was the favorite in that fight too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was a small favorite.
Yeah, I think
minus 170 or something like that, and then minus 150, whatever. I mean, you're a favorite over Matt Brown that early in your career. Matt Brown's a veteran's veteran, so good for fucking him, dude. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Anthony Smith does what we were talking about it in the group chat. Minus 137 for Anthony Smith over Devin Clark seems like a lock. I don't know if it's a trap line or whatever, but I mean, it's Devin Clark. Listen, I get it. Everyone wants to fade Anthony Smith now. He looked like shit at the weigh-ins. He was the last one to weigh in, and he doesn't have the motivation anymore, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's Devin Clark. And I don't care if Devin Clark's stepmom or whatever, mother-in-law passed away on Wednesday, and he's dedicating this fight to her. And
Mike hates Devin Clark. Jesus Christ. Did he do something to you?
Dude, he's just not good. He's not good at all. At all. Yeah. He has no heart. He gasses. His wrestling is subpar. He's small for 205. The dude is just not good. and I couldn't pull the trigger myself on that. But we all called it Anthony Smith. But
Actually, I had Anthony Smith and the under. I faded my own MMA gossip pick last minute.
yeah, how do you do that? How do you?
So dude, tell me this isn't a sign from above. So I texted you guys and I go, Anthony Smith minus 139. I was like, is that the play of the year or is that a trap? Remember?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, should I play it? Should I not? Should I play it? Should I not? And I was talking about the Tony Ferguson line. So I'm like, fuck, what should I do? What should I do? So he was minus 139. I was going to parlay it with Tony Ferguson, but I was like, I want to play Tony's full line. I'm going to do it at least once. I've been saying that. I'm going to fucking do that. Anyway,
Whatever you do for Ferguson, I'll match you on the other end.
We scumbag.
But so he's minus 139. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, should I do it? Should I not? Because you guys know me. I don't bet like that ever. It's like $10 here on a parlay, $20 here. So I'm like 139. Should I throw $139 and Anthony Smith $100? I'm like, whatever. Literally less than 10 minutes later, my mom comes to my room. My mom goes, hey, Chris, you remember that lawsuit from like a while ago? Like, when you get that shit in the mail, like a company's like, oh, we're filing suit against said company. You're entitled to money. And you usually get a check in the mail. It's like 50 cents. So I used to work for New York Life. So I get a check in the mail from Johnson & Johnson sued New York Life. And since I worked there, I was entitled to it. I filled out this paperwork. My mom hands me a check for $139.60. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are the chances of that? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to play that. Right. So, but I'm in New York. So I'm like, shit, you can't use DraftKings. I went fishing on Evan's boat and I'm like, oh fuck, I have to put in the Anthony Smith line. Dude, I swear to God, I pull out my phone and it's 1:39 in the afternoon. And I was like, all right. So I just played Anthony Smith's full line for $139.60. And obviously, like, it's not the biggest money in the world, but I was like, that is a sign from above that Anthony Smith is going to get this done. So I did that. And then I'm just going to roll that all that right into Tony Ferguson.
That boy, I like it. All of it, like the 139 plus
139 and 100. I'm going to put it into Tony Ferguson at minus 145. It wasn't available on DraftKings yet. Otherwise I would have already done it.
Word. That's fucking awesome. I like it. Matt, you're going the other way, though, right? Oliveira?
Yeah. Oliveira is a fold machine, bro.
He's
going to win, bro. He's going to shock the world.
The thing is, though.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, yeah, Oliveira is the folding machine. I agree 100%, Chris. You've been saying it for years. But if for somehow Oliveira can get Ferguson out of there in rounds 1 and 2, that's the only way I think he wins. If it goes to 3, 4, and 5, Tony Ferguson is going to make him fold like a fucking chair.
Dude, also, Matt, if you end up betting on Tony Ferguson, I'm going to drive your house and hit you with a bat. I'm going to kill you, dude. And also, fun fact, the Will Brooks lock of the century was you saying that there was no way in hell Will Brooks lost to, drum roll, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, because fucking Oliveira was on like a 5-fight skid, basically. Thought his career was – he lost by 4 fights in a row. 3 fights in a row. The fight ended by guillotine. 2 of them, he was the one losing. And then that's when I bet him against Will Brooks.
Was it a guillotine or wasn't it like a standing rear naked?
No, I'm saying to Will Brooks, it was a standing rear naked choke. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Prior to that, he was subbed by Lamas with a guillotine, subbed by Pettis with one.
Pettis, yeah.
And then he subbed Miles Jury with one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Miles Jury one was when he was literally hanging from Miles Jury's neck. That was crazy.
That's gonna be a sick fight, though. That's in 2 weeks, right?
No, it's next. Is it? Oh yeah, 2 weeks. My
2
fault.
weeks.
My fault. Wait, no. Is it December 12th or the 19th?
12th. I think it's the 12th, but I'm saying 2 weeks as in 2 cards is what I meant to say.
2 cards. Word. Okay.
So wait, hold on. How come it's? Oh, there it is.
Is the line still the same?
Chase Hooper's on this fucking card. It's up to 165.
Damn it. Well, I'm still doing it, obviously, but
I don't know what I'm going to take there.
I called it at 145. So when I make my MMA Gossip picks, I'm putting that motherfucker at 145 as my lock.
Good. Sergey Spivak is a -2. Is 2-1. That's brutal.
I'm betting on whoever he's fighting.
Bro, Moicano's an underdog to Rafael.
I think it's a close fight. I don't know who's going to win that.
All right, we'll talk about this next week so we don't get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. But Anthony Smith, good for you, dude. I mean, honestly, he should have won that fight, and Dana White said it perfectly after the fight. Like, if Anthony Smith is as good as he thinks he is and everyone else, said he was and fought John Jones, like, when you fight a guy like Devin Clark, you're supposed to fucking win.
100%.
So, Devin Clark, congrats. Hats off to you. Or Anthony Smith, rather.
Anthony Smith, congrats.
Devin Clark, sorry for your loss, dude. Literally in the fight and your loss of your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna go right into it, boys. This weekend, big boxing fights. Errol Spence Jr. taking on Danny Garcia. Big welterweight fight, and there's actually going to be fans in attendance. It's going down Saturday at the AT&T, right? That's where Dallas plays, Matt. AT&T Stadium, I guess they call it. I think they said something like 17,000 fans. I could have totally made that up, or that was the number, and now because of all this bullshit going on, they lowered it. But I mean, that does seat, like, how many fans do you think AT&T holds, Matt?
I think it's the most in the country.
It is. It definitely. It holds an absurd amount. So that's why 17,000 seems like a lot.
It is 80,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say
70,000 is like still definitely, man. So anyway. Big fight going down. Errol Spence, everyone knows, crashed his sports car. I want to say Lamborghini, but maybe I'm fucking wrong.
It was a white Ferrari, I believe.
Ferrari. I said Lamborghini. Anyway, crashed it, drunk driving, and his friend was driving behind him. So he says he doesn't remember what happened. That's the best way of saying he was drunk driving, racing his buddy. Been there. No, I'm only kidding. What was I going to say? So anyway, he's coming back off that. Almost died. Huge fight. He's supposed to be like the next big thing. Bob Arum and Al Heyman going back and forth with him and Bud Crawford, who's number one. So everyone wants to know who the fuck is number one. So in a fight like this, Errol Spence should beat Danny Garcia. He's a pretty sizable favorite. But Danny Garcia has been there before, beating guys like Lucas Matisse, and he's over a 3-1 dog. And he beat the shit out of Lucas Matisse, who soon after retired. And Danny's the real deal. He just lost to Sean Porter, but Errol Spence, MMA math going to boxing math now. Errol Spence's last fight was a split decision to Sean Porter. And Sean Porter's he's like the guy, he's like, I don't want to say gatekeeper because he's won the belt before, but he's like the perennial number one contender. Like, if you beat him, you get a title shot. You know what I'm saying? So Danny Garcia lost to him in a razor thin fight, and Errol Spence beat him. I don't think it should have been a split decision. I thought he beat him kind of handily, but anyway, he still won. So we'll see. Undefeated Errol Spence coming off that big car crash, seeing what he's, what he's made of. But I think that this is a very manageable fight for him, a very winnable fight for him. Danny Garcia is kind of flat-footed and is a counterpuncher. Errol Spence, being a southpaw, could throw some tricks in, so we'll see. Errol Spence should win this fight, and I think if he does win this fight impressively, in 2021, we should get the fight with him and Bud Crawford, and I will go crazy. I think Bud Crawford's going to win that fight, but we'll save that for a later date.
So I got a bet for you guys, too. Obviously, like, unless you're a psychopath like me and you like to take minus 500 favorites at will.
At will.
I think that a great bet in this fight is Errol Spence by points, which is only minus 130. And you also have to consider across, like, how many pro fights does Garcia have? Like 40, it's high 30s, right? 40, whatever. He's never been stopped. So I think that's a really, really good bet if you're high on Spence. Just save yourself a couple $100 and take him to win on points at minus 130.
I love that.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
I love that, Matt, because you got to think he's going to be, first 3 rounds are going to be feel-out process, first time back in the ring in a couple years. You have to think, right? And Danny being a counter puncher, he's going to be waiting for Spence to throw, and if Spence isn't throwing, he's got nothing to counter. So the first couple rounds should be, maybe Spence could just win them, pop a jab. That's how boxing usually is, first couple rounds.
Do you think there's any chance that Danny Garcia's camp says what you just said, and he comes out a little bit more aggressive in the early rounds and tries to steal a couple rounds early before and gets his timing back, and he just adjusts to fight speed again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, between the two of them, they have over 40 knockouts. I think they have the same amount of knockouts. I don't know what the number is, but I know that they're both.
I know Spence has 21.
So they have the same number. So they both have 21.
Dude,
I love 42 knockouts between the two of them. Someone can easily go down, but it's not MMA, and these guys are the elite of the elite at welterweight. So both have won the belts before. I know Bud Crawford's holding pretty much every belt right now, so this could be big. I mean, if Danny Garcia pulls off the upset, call your fucking shot and go fight Crawford. So
hell yeah,
we'll see. But speaking of boxing, Mike Tyson, million pay-per-views. What has life come to? I know Matt said his dad was stoked on life. My dad didn't know what to fucking think. But yeah, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. sell over 1 million fucking pay-per-views. So I feel like it's only right to talk about it. And I wonder how, out of those million, people are saying like, oh, Jake Paul probably contributed a lot to it. I get it. I really don't think Jake Paul's fans are like 16-year-old kids. You know what I mean?
And those are the kids that really know how to stream shit and get around the fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Those are not like your dad is the who paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and my dad and Mike's dad, like those are the type. That's the demographic. I feel like our age to them. So anyway, 25 to 60 is like the perfect demographic for that, because those are the guys that grew up watching. Even my manager at work's like, oh, Mike Tyson's fighting this weekend. I told you my mom yelled from upstairs. She goes, Jesus Christ, Mike Tyson is fighting? Like everyone, like my mom didn't know who the fuck's fighting this weekend.
My dad didn't even know till he saw me put it on. He was like, wait, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, welcome to 2020. I texted you guys during the fight, and I'm like, what a world. Fucking Wiz Khalifa rapping black and yellow as Mike Tyson is about to fight right after Jake Paul beats up Nate Robinson. We're living in a fucking simulation.
Matt, I tweeted that, so when you sent it to us, I laughed. I know Mike thought that was funny, so I copy and pasted your text and just spell corrected it and tweeted it, and it got like a lot of love on Twitter. And then I said the same thing. I was like, dude, whoever the fuck trained Nate Robinson should be arrested. Like, if that's what you saw in sparring and you were like, yup, you're the co-main event on a Mike Tyson fight, you got this. Like, dude, you should be arrested. That was, you know what I mean? He got obliterated. And after that first knockdown, he did not want to be in there. He's like saying it was the back of the head. The ref is literally like, come to me. And Nate Robinson shaking his head no, holding the back of his head. Like, stop the fight, dude.
He face planted on the first knockdown. Like,
what round did the fight end in?
Second?
Dude, Nate Robinson catapulted across the ring when he got hit.
Dude, I saw Paul Pierce's story on Instagram. He was like, let's go, Nate. He's like filming the TV when they're announcing Nate Robinson. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, oh, no, Nate Robinson. Dead. But, like, that's really bad. Like, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Jake Paul is not bad at boxing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people are really overstepping this now. Like, because he's a professional boxer. I saw that.
That's not right, yo.
It's not right, but dude, people are hyping him up now, and he's gonna get hurt. Like, honestly, I think if he boxed Dylan Dennis, I think he could beat Dylan Dennis at a boxing.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing at Jits last night. I was like, I don't want to see him fight Dylan Dennis. Like, if you're this big boxer, you want to call out Conor McGregor and be a hard ass. Obviously, it's a money grab. You don't believe that Conor McGregor is out of his prime at like 31, whatever the bullshit he was saying. He's like, I'm taller, bigger, whatever. It doesn't matter, dude. Like, dude, it just comes to a point. I don't want you fighting a fucking ex-basketball player that's twice your age. That's my height. Like, fight somebody legit or shut the fuck up,
dude. It's just like, yeah. I mean, he's not bad at boxing. He is really good boxing, but he's like he would be like a low-level amateur boxer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's a professional. But he fought a fellow YouTuber who never threw a punch in his life. Anson Gibb or whatever. He fought Deji, who's KSI's younger brother, just solely for the fact that he's Logan Paul's younger brother. Deji is like the kid in your middle school that you stood up for who's getting bullied because he couldn't stand up for himself. And this kid's boxing him. You know what I mean? Like, celebrating that win. But hey, he is the content king. I respect the shit out of that. Like, the YouTube content game, I'm a big fucking fan of. So if maybe he'll fucking hook up our channel, sponsor us. But
his girlfriend's hot as fuck.
Yeah, Julia Rose sent me some titty pics.
Oh, he dates Julia Rose?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, that'll last. You know, his other girlfriend was, what's her name? Tana Mongoose. She like blows dudes on Twitter, but
she was on apparently the Call Me Daddy podcast, the one that's like number 1 on iTunes right now. She was on that last night talking about a bunch of shit. I've never listened to that thing once. I think it's fucking raunchy. But, like, I don't know. I wanted to listen to see if she said anything about, like, Jake Paul and her relationship on there and just shit talk them, but I couldn't get myself to sit through it.
No, they like each other a lot. They like each other.
They're good now?
Dude, he probably has 3 ways with them. I'm serious. Like, she loves him. So, good for him. The content game is thriving. So, good for him. Other than that, I really have nothing to say about that card. I mean, Badu Jack going to a decision was kind of pathetic. He should have – that was like – they were put that on so that Badu Jack could get a knockout and, like, hype up the card, and he goes to a fucking decision. Like, dude, what are you doing?
I will say, though, he didn't take a backward step that whole fight.
he fought a fucking like Jake Paul could have fucking beat that guy.
Yeah,
Not literally. Not.
I mean, I saw he was 12-0, and then I saw like he was how big of an underdog. I was like, this guy must be fighting like.
But dude, do you guys realize that Jake Paul weighed in at 189, and he would be fighting at like it's almost like cruiserweight. Like Deontay Wilder is like not even 20 pounds heavier than him. You know what I mean? Like he'll be fighting some big motherfuckers like Andre Ward, big. You know what I'm saying? Bigger than that's like 15 pounds heavier than Canelo's heaviest opponent. That's dude. Imagine getting hit by one of those motherfuckers. Jake Paul will make Nate Robinson look like a TKO. You know what I mean? Like,
so just real quick, so, before we get to the next card, I feel like we just have to talk about it. I saw Shab obviously talked about it in his podcast today. You almost have to. So, like, what do you see next for Mike Tyson? Like, is he going to fight again? If
he's going to fight Evander Holyfield.
Jesus Christ. He's 58 years old.
Yeah, well, I think he's fighting Evander Holyfield, and I think that if they're going to do it, do it. Like, I honestly feel like Mike Tyson could have stopped Roy Jones Jr. If
Me too. I thought he was pulling back on
like, he did hold back, and he threw a lot of body shots, which is good, but those uppercuts, like when they were breaking and Mike Tyson wasn't throwing his classic uppercut, like, I think that he really could have done damage there. And, like, dude, if you're going to do it, like, you can't – Al Quintus said it. He's like, you can't play boxing. Like, he said about Nate Robinson, but, like, you can't play these sports. I mean, you can't be like, don't throw 100%. Like, your 90% is different than my 90%, which is different than Mike's 90%. You can't fucking fake that shit. So, like, I feel like that's the way to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Roy Jones said, he's like, he hurt me to the body a couple of times. Like, he's like, my ribs don't feel good right now at all.
Yeah. And Roy Jones is parading around like, oh, I won't accept a draw. Like, dude, you should be grateful they gave you a draw. You know what I mean?
He said he wants to fight like every 1 to 2 months. I mean, I'm all here for it. I mean, people were ripping it, but you know what, dude? He's in shape. Granted, it's not the best getting hit, but he's keeping himself in great shape as a middle-aged man, and he didn't look completely lost in there. Like, if he just takes the right matchups and doesn't go out fighting, and like you said pre-podcast, Anthony Joshua, he could definitely be competitive to some level, I think, still to the point where he's not fucking killing himself, you know, if it's keeping, because he was a fat fuck for a while. If it's keeping him in shape and keeping him active, dude, fuck it, let him do it.
Lost 100 pounds.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Crazy.
That's so good for him. Like, oh, so many people were ripping this. Like, how could you let this happen? Like, dude, it's Mike Tyson. If he is Mike Tyson, if Mike Tyson says, I want to fight, there's going to be a promotion that picks it up. It's just how the world works.
1,000%.
Yeah. Like,
the one thing that they need to change, though, get rid of fucking Snoop Dogg now. He knows, dude. It's like that's why like people were laughing on the thing, but that's why Dana White didn't bring him back for Contender Series and all that, because like no one wants to hear that idiot talk. He brings nothing to it. You know what I mean? Like no one was like, oh shit, Snoop Dogg is on Dana White's Contender Series. I'm gonna watch it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody.
He hurt. I feel like like my dad was losing his mind listening to that moron. You know, my dad had some different words, but that idiot is like the Snoop Dogg. You know, like, oh, looks like my uncle's fighting at a barbecue. No, that's Mike Tyson, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Shut the fuck up, Snoop Dogg, you idiot. But yeah, lose Mike Tyson or lose Snoop Dogg and lose the musical acts in between. Like, it was more of a concert than a boxing show. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know who that one rapper was.
That's what I'm saying. Neo is sitting, and then you got Neo saying the national anthem. It's like, bro, like, this is 2020.
The last time Neo was relevant was the last time Mike Tyson fought for real.
So it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. But anyway, this is an MMA podcast, so fuck Jake Paul unless he's promoting our YouTube content. And let's move on to UFC this week.
All right, UFC
I'm rattled.
Vegas.
There's no Bellator till next week.
God, Matt Wyman fights this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We have technology. I could just bring it up real quick. So yeah, we got UFC.
How bad you got to be to let John Vellante be minus 200.
Let's just not even talk about that.
Dude, if Jake Kaya came in looking good, would you bet on him? Like, if he lost, like, 15, 20 pounds?
Yeah. Just because Volante's fucking terrible, too. He's the man, though.
Right. So here's our card. I mean, like, we got the rebooking down here of Smolka out Quinones. I'm still on Quinones. I think Smolka's a loser. If you have trouble making 135 and you used to be a 125 pounder, just fuck off. You know what I'm saying? I'll go with Quinones.
I honestly, I said Quinones last time, but I honestly have been feeling Smoka a little bit more and more. But that fight is so bad that I really don't
Hard
care.
to bet because I don't like how Smolka throws himself into grappling exchanges, and he's just so comfortable off of his back that it makes him lose rounds.
And Quinones has jiu-jitsu tattooed on his chest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. I'm just not. I just don't like Smolka, so I'm just gonna pick. I'll pick Quinones, Mexican Warrior.
Dude, I love Tapology. Like, they're an awesome website. What they do, and like Sherdog is amazing. But like, you got to update some of these pictures.
Yeah, some of them are real behind. Real behind. Look at Jake Collier. Look at this.
That's what I'm saying.
No, actually, I never want them to update Jake Collier's picture. Ever.
Bro, Jake Collier, man. What? Look at this fight. This fight, like, come on. Like, the fact that Sean Shelby was like, all right, this is the fight. Come on, dude.
I love that John Vellante is a heavyweight now. That's just like the epitome of his career.
He looks pregnant. Jake Collier looks like the reverse liposuction.
I can't wait for Evil to beat the shit out of Landwehr.
Oh my God, that is the lock of the century.
He's like minus 630, bro.
Oh my God. I told you guys before podcast I did not look at the odds, and I wasn't lying. Because
Do you remember when Landwehr was fighting Elkins and he was screaming Dana's name in the middle of the fight? Dana! Dana! And he's just hitting him with a jab. I was like,
and it went to a decision?
a questionable one. There's a lot of people that thought Elkins won that, but I digress. All right, let's talk about the good ones. Let's talk about OSP and Hill.
Let's start on the just do the main card. Go for the main card up.
All right, so I guess it's
John Vellante is headlining the prelims, dude. Shoot me in the fucking head.
Right. Fuck that fight. All right, Evloev. I mean, I think this is pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty straightforward. He's going to beat
I think he's going to beat the shit out of him. I think it's pretty much a lock, but at minus 630, I don't think people are going to touch it. But I just think Evloev is the real deal, man. The way he fought Grundy in the last fight in terms of getting into chokes, getting out, and his boxing and his just sick grappling and cardio, I think that he can pose a serious problem at 145.
I'm looking at this card right now. I'm gonna Interesting. Okay. I got something for you guys now. I just looked at this off the top of my head. Next up.
All right. I mean, Dolidze, both these guys have one fight in the UFC. I'm on Dolidze. I think John Allen, he got a no contest like a year and a half ago against slow Mike Rodriguez. Rodriguez is a folding chair, though, sometimes, too. So I don't really put much stock into that. But I guess I'll pick Dolidze, 7-0.
I've heard a lot of people really, 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 really high on him, and I was just reading stuff about him online. Just people that just seem to be all over him. Like, this is by no means am I going to say a lock, but I saw the people are saying that the line movement is really favorable towards him. So
yeah, I'm all over Dolidze in this too.
Yeah,
I like the line where it's at. I might take it now before it gets juiced over 200.
I just put something together for you guys. Looking at this card right now, I'm on DraftKings. I have it on my phone. So when we get through the card, I'll bring up what I just thought about.
Yeah, I have pretty much all my bets locked in, so I'll give them all as well as soon as we're done here. But yeah, like this fight's pretty interesting. Tyler Santos and De La Rosa. I mean, I have a soft spot for De La Rosa.
So do I.
I don't care what anybody thinks, but I think she might get her ass whooped in this fight. I mean, the way Tyler Santos beat the shit out of Molly McCann in her last fight, and De La Rosa's just got almost no stand-up, and if she doesn't get the takedown, I think it's over. So I'm pretty heavy on Santos here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, co-main event?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. OSP, man. I mean, he pulled it. You called it, Chris, last time, right, against Alonzo Menefield, and
yeah, I did. You guys
I was on the wrong side of that, but here he is again, a dog. I don't think he's being disrespected here. I think Hill, dude. If you saw, I watched Hill's all three of his fights, Contender Series, and both his UFC bouts. Dude, his output is outrageous, bro.
Outrageous.
He throws over 100 strikes in both of his fights that he won by decision, and then he destroyed Klidson Abreu, dude. I'm really high on this kid. I think he's going to go out there, and I think this is one of those same proof fights where he comes out and he doesn't look as good as he should. I think when he came out against Alonzo, he was fucking awesome, and then I feel like, next fight he's going to look like an asshole. So I'm going to pick Jamal Hill here pretty confidently.
Me too. Then that, Mike, it's funny you mentioned his output because that was my reason for picking him. The OSP, no, he doesn't have output really at any point in the fight. He loves to throw his hide kick. He's a couple counters, but he's not a guy that strings combinations together. The only thing that would scare me with OSP in this fight is if he just decided to hold him up against the cage, which we've seen him do many times before. Just hold him up against the cage, score a takedown, let him up, score a takedown, and just kind of make it a grinding fight and not let Hill get that output off. As long as Hill can avoid that kind of fight and just outpoint Prue, I don't see any reason that he shouldn't win, not only win, but finish the fight because OSP is not one to keep up with somebody that's going to throw as much as Hill is. Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I was definitely going to mention the output of Hill. Absurd. But right there, looking at Mike's screen, 25-14, 8-0. And you guys know I'm Mr. fucking UFC experience. OSP is literally fought everyone. He fought a heavyweight recently, fighting fucking Ben Rothwell. So that is literally everyone. John Jones, everyone. So St. Prue's got that veteran experience. But I think OSP, and again, I was on him over Amenafield. I think he's just due for a classic OSP folding performance. He hasn't had one, and I think he's due for one. So we'll see. I think Jamal Hill's going to come out. I think the UFC is – I think he's the co-main event in this for a reason. I think they definitely want him to win. I think this is a spot where they're trying to highlight him at 8-0. So I do think Jamal Hill takes this one purely on output because OSP has been known to fold and has cardio issues. So – definitely see this one going to Hill. I don't know about stoppage. OSP is pretty tough, but maybe in the third round, if he gasses out, he could really take advantage of that. That would be awesome. Really good for Hill. Really, that would make promotion for him pretty fucking easy.
Yeah, I'm the only thing I'm worried about, like you said, Matt, is up against the fence, maybe a takedown. But I don't know. I mean, Darko Stosic took Jamal Hill down like 6 times, and he got back up 6 times in a matter of seconds. So I know Stosic sucks, and I'm pretty sure he got released by the company, but he did all the right things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So all right, main event time. Crazy. Marvin Vettori opened the favorite. Pretty fucking crazy. Slight one, but still opened the favorite. Whereas if it was just Kevin Holland, and then Hermansson was like a minus 230 or something like that. So what do you guys think about the fact that he opened the favorite and he's still the favorite?
I don't know, man, because I'm just not – I know that, like, he's Italian. Your girlfriend loves him. But, like, I just don't – like, he's got good stand-up, but I just don't see the hype train here, really. Like, and I don't understand what the recency bias is against Hermansson to make him an underdog. Like, I think his most recent win is more impressive than Vettori's win, and the way he's been winning lately is somewhere that we really haven't even seen Vettori tested. I think Vettori definitely has the advantage on the feet. I don't think it's a crazy one. I just think that his defense is probably a little better. Hermansson hits probably just as hard. His defense is a little wild, though. He could get hit. He is there to be hit. But I think that any grappling, wrestling, any of those types of exchanges, I completely favor Hermansson, and that's where I expect this fight to go. I think that he's going to take him down. I think he's going to sub him. We haven't seen Vettori there, and Hermansson's been finishing everybody under the sun like that. So I'm not going to deviate from the norm here. I'm going to take the underdog, and I'm riding with Hermansson to get a big win here.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely rooting for Vettori, to be honest. Like, fan-wise, I'm rooting for Vettori pretty hard. Hermansson, I love him. He's good. He just, I shouldn't say I love him. I like him. He's a good fighter. Definitely, headline worthy. This was supposed to originally be Till and Hermansson, and then we lost that. Got what's his name, Kevin Holland. Now here we are, Marvin Vettori. And honestly, I really do not know what Vegas knows everything. I don't know shit. I don't know about betting. You guys do. He was what was the opening line with him and Till? He was a small favorite, right? Like minus 120.
I think it was
Yeah,
So
and then
favorite over Till, but an underdog to Vettori. What the fuck is going on?
Stylistically, Matt, I think he was just going to take Till down, and Till coming up. I said to you guys, and you guys can go back, fans, whoever the fuck's listening to this, go back to our past podcast. I said I cannot believe that Till and Hermansson was announced, because how the fuck could Till's knee be okay? How is that possible? And then Till came out on Errol's show and said, you know what? I went to training and my knee just was not ready to go. Again, I'm not a fucking doctor, but if you blow your knee out as bad as you said you did, you cannot fight that this soon. It's just physically impossible. Unless you're fucking Tony Ferguson. You fight 6 months later after blowing out your knee. Anyway, I guess the only thing I can think of is two things. One, maybe it's because Marvin Vettori went to a split decision with Israel Adesanya, and people are just like, oh, he went to, I don't know. Maybe that's what people see. Or the fact that Hermansson was going from basically a pure striker in Darren Till to a smaller 185er in Kevin Holland, who's pretty well-rounded everywhere, to Marvin Vettori, who's honestly, who do you think is going to be bigger when they face off?
I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think people are going to think that Vettori is going to be a lot bigger, but Hermansson's got size.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm saying, like, is Vettori going to be a little bit bigger, you think, when they face
I think
off?
a little bit bigger, but not to the point. All right, finish your spiel and then I'll go.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I just think that's it. He went from a pure striker to someone that he was going to beat, basically, in Kevin Holland, to now he's got a stiffer test. So it's like, camp is probably going everywhere. I really don't know, bro. I really don't know. Like I said, I'm I'm rooting for Marvin Vettori 100%. I'm voting for Trump. I'm rooting for Marvin Vettori 100%. But we'll see, man. I'm really excited for this one. I think that Marvin Vettori, it's like about fucking time he's getting a push. Like, I think if he wins this main event, I know he'll have a good call out after. He was heated fighting fucking poopy Carl Roberson, and he embarrassed Carl Roberson. Like, he talked that talk and came in and dominated him on the ground. So maybe it's either he's going to keep Hermansson off of him and beat him up on the feet. Maybe that's what people see. That's what Vegas knows. Let's put it that way. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm glad you brought up the Adesanya fight, because I really do think that's baked into people's minds. Like, number one, that was a different Adesanya, but that was like his second fight in the UFC. Number two, I don't think it was a split decision. I think Adesanya clearly won, but Marvin definitely had a pretty good outing against him. And then from there forward, he lined up at least 3, maybe 4 solid wins. But Jack has fought way better competition. His ground game is slick. He is a specialist on the ground. And on the feet, he's no joke either, man. He went 5 rounds with Jacare, and in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, his output was plus 50 strikes, so he's got the endurance, he's got the ground game, his stand-up should be able to contest with Vettori. I think if it goes to the ground, everyone's like, oh, Marvin Vettori's got great takedown defense, some of the top 10 in the history of the UFC, great grappling, he submitted Carl Roberson. No, Hermansson is on a different level. There's levels to this shit, and I'm not saying that Vettori can't hang with Hermansson on the ground, but if it goes to the ground, Hermansson is going to work him and either destroy him for that round or sub him in that round. I'm pretty confident in that. So I think, like you said, maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe Vegas knows something I don't know,
or it's just a gift line like Anthony Smith fight. Maybe we're overthinking.
Hey, it could be a fucking gift line. If I went over to betmmatips.com, and it kind of tells you where people are placing their money, and a lot of people are on Vettori, man. It's crazy. Like, there's a lot of people that are not seeing what we're seeing here.
Maybe that's what's driving the money then. Maybe I do not fucking know.
Yeah, so, which is weird, because then if you look at the OSP Jamal Hill fight, there's a shit ton of people on OSP. So it's like the line's really not moving in that fight either, So it's like it's hard. It's hard to decide, but I'm on Hermansson pretty firmly here, and I'm gonna
be rooting for Vettori. Like I said, I do think
for sure, man. I really hope he wins, because my girlfriend would be stoked. First Italian guy to like really get recognized in the UFC. I'm trying to think of any other. Alessio Sakara was an Italian guy. Chirico, yeah. But,
Michael Chiesa. My grandma likes him, Michael Chiesa. If Vettori fucked up Hermansson just for shits and giggles, what do you think he would do next?
Dude, I don't see a scenario in which that happens, man. But I don't know. Who would he call out? I don't know. Maybe
he'd probably call out.
I honestly think if Vettori wins, no matter how, and calls out Izzy because he's got like a vendetta against Izzy because that's the decision, I think that would be a failed call out.
I agree, because he's not going to get that fight off Hermansson.
He ain't going to get that fight.
Right.
Especially with like Robert Whittaker all of a sudden streaking again and shit. Like, that's not going to happen.
So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I mean, is Phil healthy? That'd be a fun stand up.
Yeah, it would be. Also, the one other thing, I guess, is Vettori's never been stopped. I'm just trying to find a reason, Mike. I'm just trying here. He's never been stopped, so never been knocked out or submitted. So maybe that's playing into line as well.
Yeah, he's definitely durable, man.
Who put Hermansson out recently?
It was
Cannonier.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, that's the
that-
thing. Hermanson has trouble with big, strong, heavy hitters. Dude, Vettori has like no knockouts on his record.
Yeah.
He doesn't punch hard, man. He's big, he's strong, but he does not hit hard. He's just got solid boxing, and his cardio is a little underrated. But I love
stands out to me about him. I don't get it.
I don't get it, man.
Also, Vettori was clearly not preparing for 5 rounds.
No, definitely not. And he has when he fought Amari Akhmedov, man, he was gassed in that third round.
They went to a draw.
I'm hammering Hermanson. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm like talking myself into Hermanson more and more right now, especially getting a dog here. I mean, money, you know what I mean? Like, if this is a 50-50 fight, right? Like, again, I know nothing about betting. If this is even just saying this is a 50-50 fight, wouldn't you just take the plus money at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah. About that.
Chris, didn't you say you had some sort of lineup? DK?
Oh, I was just looking. No, I was just literally from looking at this because I'm really high on Topuria, who we didn't talk about.
Oh, I have a hot take about that.
Go ahead.
How did I skim over that? I just totally
because he wasn't he's not on the main card.
All right, here we go. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. So he's been a minus 250 pretty much since the opener, right? And I want you to check out where the money's going. Look, this is Damon on this side,
right.
and Topuria is on this side, bro. The line has not budged.
How much of a favorite is he?
Minus 250. I have a hot take, dude. I think Vegas knows something. I'm telling you right now, I think Damon Jackson wins this fight because something's weird with the line. I'm not looking at skill for skill. I'm not looking at anything
Damon Jackson
matchup.
sucks.
Dude, and I remember Ilia Topuria, I was high as hell on when he fought Yusuf Zalal as an underdog.
All right, Mike, and I'll play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
I don't think that Damon Jackson defies odds twice.
Dude,
the Bektik fight he was a big underdog. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think he does that twice.
Dude, don't get me wrong. I'm high on Topuria. I think he literally has top 15 skill in his blood, man. He's that good of a grappler, man. He is so fucking slick, and his stand-up is no joke either.
Yeah, and we've seen Bektik shit himself before.
Something about this line is sketchy, dude. If there's this many people putting money on Topuria and the line hasn't budged from minus 250,
But is this actual money or is this fake money like you're looking at right now? Like, these people just making virtual picks? Like,
well, look at the links. No, I think this is real money because look at the top left. This is units. This is tracking. This is so these.
Yeah, but you could place like hypothetical units. Like, I have sites where I do that just to track my bets, and it's not real money.
Well, you just have to assume that the people are making these bets.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I have a site that actually like. Hold on.
So if we go back to hold on. Whatever.
I don't think you should overthink that one, Mike. I would have him in all of my parlays, and if he loses, you could punch me in the face.
Dude, I mean, I'm just saying, this is the one fight on the card where the line doesn't make sense. I think Ilya should be a minus 500 like Evloev. But the fact that it's not moving is sketchy, dude. The same
But
thing
do you think it's just because Damon Jackson's coming off a win against Bektik? Like, you always say recency bias. You know what I mean?
I think people are really high on Ilya because of that win over Zalal. It was so impressive. Zalal was 3-0 heading into this fight in 2020, and Ilya pretty much poured it on him and he looked phenomenal doing it. And then you got Damon Jackson over here, got out-grappled for 2.5 rounds. And then he got that last-minute submission on fucking Bektik. He put his neck in a guillotine like 17 times. My point being is Damon Jackson's no slouch. He's a black belt. He's got endurance, opportunistic submissions. I don't know, man. Something about the line is keeping me away from it.
I love that you guys never agree. It makes me so happy. Mike says he's staying away from it. Do not play it. Matt said he's putting it in all of his plays.
Dude, I hope you're right, man, because I like Ilya a lot, but I can't put my money there.
Well, then fuck what I was going to say because I had a little mini parlay, but now Mike talked me out of it. If Matt says put him in all your plays, if you parlayed Topuria, Delize, and Talia Santos, it's plus 204.
Like it.
Again, they're all minus 200, so someone's going to shit the bed. So don't fucking do it. I'm just saying.
Right.
I was, and again, I didn't look at the lines before this, so I haven't had time to like really fuck around, but – yeah, Chase Hooper also hilariously is a minus 345 favorite. That's fucking insane.
I think I'm playing 3 dogs. I'm gonna play Quinones. I'm gonna play Hermanson, and I'm pretty high on Cody Durden too against Jimmy the
I like
Brick
Durden.
Flick.
I like Durden too.
Oh, dude, Tony Ferguson's available now. He's only -1. He's -150. I saw him at -145.
Start taking it now.
Lay the juice.
Duran win is +115.
No thanks.
Dude, no.
Marlon Moraes is -145.
I don't know. I like Font. I think
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Weird.
But anyway, boys, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Also, Jeff Neal now is +130. But
Interesting.
I'm gonna hammer that.
great.
What else, boys?
That's it. I nothing. No fucking Bellator till next week when Ilima McFarland defends her belt. I'll have some hot takes and some juicy picks for you guys next week.
Word, let's get it, boys. All right, enjoy the fights this weekend. Tune in, boxing, UFC Vegas 12. Enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you next week.